So I'd like to thank Christine and the Institute for Inner Studies for inviting me here so that I may share with you on one level of truth my doctoral thesis. But on a higher level of truth, I'm going to be sharing with you my spiritual thesis. Now, when I look out into the crowd, I see fellow pranic healing instructors, my co-disciples in our Hatha Yoga, and fellow pranic healers. So you are all my peers, and this is my peer review for my spiritual thesis. So, on the higher level of truth, my spiritual thesis is actually part of Master Choa Kok Sui's spiritual thesis. To have a pranic healer in every family, and for pranic healing to spread rapidly and properly throughout the world. For those of you who may not be able to see too clearly, this is Master Choa tapping or blessing, energizing acupuncture needles in one of his disciples. So I'm also grateful to Master Choa for not only creating pranic healing, which pranic acupuncture is built on, but also for encouraging us to experiment and come to our own conclusions. So this is exactly what I did. I just did a lot of experiments and came to my own conclusions. Also, I have to thank Master Glenn, Master Marilag. They were the ones who really pushed me to write about pranic acupuncture and to be able to share this with everyone. To Master Stephen Koh, who I was trained under in the United States as an instructor, I used to have a section in my notes when I would take pranic healing classes. And anytime he would talk about acupuncture, Chinese medicine with pranic healing, I would just write down all of my notes in that section. So a lot of what I'm talking about and sharing with you comes from that special section of my notes. To my basic pranic healing instructor, Chandan Paramaswara, he's been mentoring me for the last 10 years. So if it wasn't for him taking my last late night text, phone calls, fireside chats as we used to call them, I wouldn't understand pranic healing to the level that I do. So my appreciation to him. He was very patient with me. Speaking of patience, my closest co-disciple, my wife, for keeping me grounded the whole time I was writing about pranic acupuncture. If I was sitting at the computer for too many hours, she was the one who would drag me outside, take me for a walk so that I could stay grounded. So, to my university, Tianjin University of Traditional Chinese Medicine, they were the ones who really allowed me when I said, this is my proposal, I would like to incorporate pranic healing into acupuncture. So Dr. Wang Shu is my supervisor, Dr. Shen Yan, Dr. Lili, Dr. Yin Haran, for supporting me through the whole process, even though it seemed very different and out of the box from what they were used to for a PhD candidate. So my first ideas that I got about pranic acupuncture were in the foreword. I don't even think it's the actual, has a page number yet, in Miracles Through Pranic Healing. Master Choa explains that in ancient Chinese medical science, there were 5 levels of healing skills. The first was Tui Na, or Chinese medical massage, where the healer uses their hands to facilitate healing. Then you have herbal medicine, where you are using herbs or plant products, animal products, to ingest to facilitate healing. Then you have acupuncture and moxibustion. When I say moxibustion, who here has no idea what I'm talking about? A good number of you. So moxibustion is a technique where you're burning an herb over an acupuncture point to warm it up and to send energy inside. The 4th level was projecting qi through the needles with acupuncture. So this is going to take a number of years of extra training, and you have to have a qualified teacher in order to learn something like this. So then, the 5th level is projecting qi without needles. Now we all understand this as pranic healing. So when I first started going to college, it was in the back of my mind I wanted to study acupuncture, but there in Master Choa's book, if I could learn the 5th and highest level, there was no need for me to go back and learn the first 4. So then something changed for me. This was in 2011. Master Ko was coming to Minneapolis to give a talk on pranic healing. And one of the places that we decided to give a talk at was a very small bookstore that had been selling Master Choa's books from the very, very beginning. So the bookstore, where the space is probably no bigger than the stage I'm standing on, the talk was standing room only. So at the back of the room, there was this blind man who was brought to the talk by his mom and his aunts. And when I say he's a blind man, I mean a stereotypical blind man as you can think of. It's nighttime, he's got the dark glasses, he's got the cane walking around. So at the end of the class, his mom brings him over to thank Master Ko for the class. He enjoyed listening to it, and he didn't ask for healing. But sure enough, Master Ko says, so how long have you been blind? Were you born this way? Was there an accident? And as soon as Master Ko starts scanning, everyone in the room just goes silent. You couldn't hear anyone even breathing in the room. We're just staring at him as he's doing healing on a blind man. This is like biblical kind of stuff. And so for me, if I ever want to learn something new, I just stare at a master pranic healer when they do healing. There's got to be some secrets in their hands when they're seeing something or doing something. So while Master Ko was doing the healing, at one point it looked like he took an energy needle out and started manipulating it in the person's brain. And then he asked the man if he could take off his glasses, if he could look around and see anything. So all of a sudden, in front of all of us, he says, yeah, I can see a light here, here, and here. And then he looks at Master Ko. He looks at Master Ko and says, I know you're standing here, and it looks like there's a structure coming out. That must be the bookshelf. As soon as he said that, his mother just broke down into tears. He had not seen anything for over 20 years. So that was incredible to witness. So afterwards, we're going to take Master Ko out for dinner. And at that point, he's trying to order like tom yum, he's asking us what we like, and my wife and I still are just like, you just healed a blind guy. Can we talk about that just for a minute? And I said, but I also have taken the healing classes, and I noticed that you were doing things with the needles, or doing things with your hands that I'd never seen before. And one of them was, at one point it looked like you were using an energy needle. So he just says, oh, so you noticed that. So he said originally, Master Cho at one point wanted to write a book on Pranic Acupuncture, but that would be too hard for most people to learn Pranic healing, or Pranic Acupuncture, because there's so many points that are involved. So instead he chose to use Pranic healing because it was simpler for us to use, because the main goal was for it to spread, to bring people into the higher teachings. And he said, if you keep on your Aharic yoga practice, at one point you'll be able to use energy in a way where you can use energy needles. He said, but for now, if you know what the acupuncture points are, just use your finger and you can clean and energize the points. And so then he's grabbing the waiter and he's like, yes, we'll have the tom yum. So for him it was no big deal, it was just a quick little sentence, and he probably doesn't even remember that we had that conversation. But for me, it just completely blew my mind. And for whatever reason, I became obsessed or fixated on it. So that was when I decided I wanted to go back and learn Pranic Acupuncture. How can you synthesize or integrate Pranic healing into acupuncture so it's a stronger modality? So I could understand Pranic healing deeper and Chinese medicine deeper. So the same list here that made me think that I only need Pranic healing was the same list that gave me my outline for my PhD thesis. So for better or worse, when I first started to study Chinese medicine, I just took my master's degree as I was learning another level of Pranic healing. So every time they're talking about Qi or Yin and Yang, it's coming through my filter of Pranic healing. So I don't know what it's like to practice acupuncture in the way it's traditionally taught. I only know how to practice Pranic Acupuncture. So one of the first things that I noticed was that in the West, or in America, we just say acupuncture. We don't say the full term. In Chinese, the character is actually Zhenjiu. Zhen is the character for acupuncture. Jiu is the character for moxibustion. So acupuncture, as it's classically thought about, is actually for cleansing. Imagine that I have a problem with my elbow. Now, there's probably going to be a ball of congested, dirty energy there. Now, if I take a needle and I stick it into the dirty energy, what do you think happens? It just starts to go everywhere. And then the dirty energy is going to start to flow out of the needle because you've created a small hole in the aura. So it's traditionally thought of for cleansing, and then afterwards you would use moxibustion for energizing. So even the name for acupuncture, as it's used in China, implies cleansing and energizing. So most of you know this symbol. It's called the Tai Chi. Now, it's important because Chinese medicine is actually based on Taoist practices. For us as pranic healers though, it doesn't make a lot of sense until you understand yin and yang through advanced pranic healing. Some colors are yin, some colors are yang. So in Chinese medicine, yin qi has the property of being contracting, inward moving, cooling, and downward moving. Yang qi, sorry, it's got a lag time here, is going to be expansive or expanding, warming, upward moving, and outward moving. So when you relate this into pranic healing, then it makes sense when you talk about yin prana. Yin prana should be green, blue, and violet. These are the main colors used for cleansing, for cooling. Yang color pranas would be yellow, orange, and red, especially red because it's so warming, it's expansive. So I'm excited to say that Master Glenn and I just published this month an article on incorporating pranic healing and acupuncture together. So it was published in Meridians, the Journal of Acupuncture and Oriental Medicine. And the title was Integrating the Zangfu Organs of Traditional Chinese Medicine with the Chakras of Pranic Healing. So to understand what a Zangfu organ is, even though an acupuncturist won't explain it in this way, essentially when in ancient China they mapped out the energy body, they used the organs for their physical, etheric, astral, and mental counterparts. So a Zang is a solid yin organ such as your liver, whereas the Fu is a hollow or yang organ like the gallbladder. So I made them capitalized so you don't confuse the liver Zang Fu and its energy component to the liver of the physical body. So each of the Zang Fu organs has acupuncture points along it. So the 12 meridians of our body are made up of the 12 Zang Fu organs. So this is a quick bird's eye view. So when you look at the drawing here, I hope you know that the chakras are not all green. The heart chakra controls the lung, the heart, and the pericardium. The channel that it's showing you is actually the lung channel, but all three of these move on through the inside of the arm into the heart chakra. So in this way, you can start to understand what chakras are used for which organs. An example for the liver and the solar plexus, in Chinese medicine, they understand that the liver is affected by anger. And so they say when someone gets angry, the liver yang rises up, it goes to the face gets really, really red, their eyes become really red. In pranic healing, we understand that when someone gets angry, it's the solar plexus chakra that fills with dirty red prana. And so when that dirty red prana goes up to the head, then you can start to see it manifest. So when you look at the two explanations, you can understand that they're talking about the same thing, but just from a different perspective. And so that's what we are trying to do in the article, show that what they're talking about in pranic healing and what we're talking about in acupuncture are the exact same thing. So these are the lower chakras, and the chakras and the Zangfu organs that they control. So once we start to understand what chakras relate to the energetic organs of Chinese medicine, that's when we can start to make protocols for treating Chinese medicine disorders. For example, you have the kidney yin deficiency is the name of a disease in Chinese medicine. So the symptoms, someone would come with dizziness, because in ancient China they didn't have blood pressure cuffs. So they have hypertension, and then they have low back pain. So the kidney is the organ that's involved. Yin or yang, it's yin, that's the quality of energy, and its deficiency is lacking yin energy. So in acupuncture, we just pick points along the meridians that will re-energize the body with yin or kidney yin. So with the example, the kidney relates to what chakra? What do we understand in pranic healing? The Meng Meng. Right? If someone comes to you for pranic healing and they say, I have hypertension and low back pain, what are you going to think is going to be going on with the chakra? Is it activated or inhibited? Activated. So their symptoms suggest that there's overactivation. So then, what color pranas do we need to use to treat yin deficiency? We need yin color pranas. So then we use green, blue, and violet to clear out the congestion. When you energize with blue, what happens is that if the Meg is overactivated, we understand that red prana is going up to the head and causing the dizziness. Where in Chinese medicine, they say the yang is rising up. So when you clean out the congestion and you re-energize the kidney, or the Meg chakra with blue, it reinforces the kidney yin so that the dirty energy or the red prana won't go too much to the head. So by doing pranic healing, even though you don't understand yin and yang, you are addressing those within the patient. So when you clean out the solar plexus and energize with green and violet, that energizes the whole body's yin. So you're treating the yin deficiency of the whole body. When you treat the Meg chakra with blue, that's when you're going to energize the kidney yin specifically. Sorry. So it's not just me talking the whole time. Can we do an experiment really quick? All right. Let me borrow somebody. Someone whose solar plexus will get congested because they don't like being the center of attention. This is my wife. So, this is a tool that all of you can use. First, let's scan her crown, and then the ajna, and the solar plexus. Just look at everyone in the crowd. So who feels that the solar plexus is congested? Alright? So these are what's called the 4 gates in traditional Chinese medicine. So I believe most of you have taken advanced pranic healing. So what you can do is use light whitish green to open the 4 gates. So the first one is called large intestine 4. Now it's the large intestine that corresponds to what chakra? Solar plexus. But the meridian actually goes up into the face. That's why a lot of times it's common knowledge people say massage this point if you have a headache, because it goes to the ajna chakra and part of it goes to the crown. So when you clean it with light whitish green, you are essentially opening the gate to let everything come out. If we understand the energy body as like a bathtub, pranic healing is taking buckets and scooping the water out. Acupuncture, what we're trying to do is just pull the plug on the drain. So the other 2 gates are on the liver meridian at the feet. So the liver connects to what chakra? Solar plexus. And then it also is called the Jue Yin meridian. So what that means is that this meridian goes from the toe and opens on the crown chakra. So when you open this, the name of this point in Chinese is called Tai Chong, which means great surge. So because it opens through the crown chakra, when you open the gates, well, let's rescan. Don't take my word for it. What's happening to the crown? Ajna. And let's check the solar plexus. Still there, but it's reduced. So when you open the points, it activates the crown, divine energy comes down in the body, it activates the ajna so that the ajna controls the other chakras, it starts to expel out of the solar plexus chakra. So usually you want a salt ball, usually in the front and the back of them. In closing, Pranic Acupuncture is an emerging and promising bioenergy modality. It is our hope that this will be, Pranic Acupuncture will be the bridge between pranic healing and traditional Chinese medicine. We want to bring more Chinese medicine practitioners into pranic healing if they understand that pranic healing isn't another modality, that it fits hand in hand perfectly with what they're already using.